It's huge concert after huge concert in Denver. You would think RTD could make some extra money and help people get home at the same time. You'd think. Secretary of State Jenna Griswold decides whether she's going to try to jump to the Senate after just 8 months in her current job. 4 shootings, 3 dead, and radio silence from Denver police. Our reporter's view from inside Aurora's immigration detention facility. And after last night's big show, we tracked down the one fan Billy Joel singled out from on stage. Next. RTD has the opportunity to impress tens of thousands of Coloradans this weekend. You got the Zac Brown Band show tonight at Coors Field, Rolling Stones at Mile High tomorrow, and all of those people wanting to get home as quickly and as safely as possible. So for RTD, what could go wrong? Here's Marshall Zellinger.
When it comes to RTD in Boulder and Longmont, residents there know you can't always get what you want, which is kind of fitting ahead of this weekend's Rolling Stones concert.
I'm working on it. It's not a definite deal yet.
Peter Richards, no relation to Keith, wants to come to Mile High to see the concert, but only if RTD has service that will give him satisfaction. Okay, I'm done with the puns.
My question was, is there extra bus service from Boulder and or Longmont to downtown Denver for the concert? And the answer was no, but they kept stressing there were extra cars being put on the light rail trains.
That's good news for light rail users. 3- and 4-car trains will leave Mile High tomorrow night. There's just no light rail that goes to Boulder.
We don't have a special service plan for this concert. We have to make sure that we have enough people and vehicles to serve the passengers, so we want to set realistic expectations.
Under promise and over deliver. RTD is not treating the concert like a Broncos game, but they'll stage buses for Boulder, Longmont, Westminster, and Thornton in case there are more passengers than the regular schedule can handle.
I checked the schedule, and up until 6 p.m. on Saturday evening, buses are every 15 minutes, which is pretty good service. Actually, the worst part is coming home, because after 9 o'clock, the buses back to Boulder are once every half an hour.
Anytime there's a crowd, people should expect there to be delays, whether you're driving, taking an Uber, or using transit. We do everything we can to efficiently get people in and out of the stadium as quickly as we can.
Expect delays. Light rail service will go until between 1 and 2 a.m., so if you don't get on one of those crowded 3- or 4-car light rail trains, you can wait a little bit. Bus service back to the northwest, Kyle, that could be contingent on how many people are. What do you got there?
I was going
to No. It's not like, no, it's light rail.
2050? No.
Even if it was a train to Boulder and Longmont, it wouldn't be light rail, it would be like the A line.
So not today?
No, that wouldn't work for this.
All right, fine. Maybe next week. All right, thank you, Marshall. Secretary of State Jenna Griswold is not going to run for the U.S. Senate. We knew she was interested. We knew that supporters paid for a poll which pushed participants to consider her. We know that there was an exploratory committee raising money for her, lots of money. But late today, Griswold said she's out. It appears that she just freshly decided because, she told our Steve Staker yesterday she was still considering it.
So I am considering. I think a lot of work needs to be done in D.C., and I am actively considering.
Actively considering. Any closer to a decision at this point?
No closer, but I will let you know
All right.
when I decide.
Oh, thank goodness for that. She did let us know via email today. Griswold has been Secretary of State, her first elected office, for 8 months now. If she had run for the Senate, she was expected to get strong backing from Planned Parenthood, whose political director was allowed to edit an official statement that came out of the Secretary of State's office. A major construction project in the metro area is not going to finish this summer as planned. It could drag on till the end of the year or longer. And now the finger pointing has begun over what's happening with the C-470 express lanes. CDOT blames the contractors for missing deadlines and for not disclosing the delays. That project's being run by Flatiron, based out of Broomfield, and AECom out of California. So now CDOT has to decide whether to keep going with those same contractors. They could finish around December, or decide to bring in someone new altogether. We couldn't get the contractors to get back to us. This whole back and forth does remind you of the mess at the airport. That huge remodel project at DIA has turned into a urination match over the delays, and there's a chance that they're going to change horses midstream. I'm aware that's an unfortunate mix of metaphors, but you understand what I'm saying. Denver hasn't had a 24 hours like this in some time. 4 shootings, 3 people dead. Denver police are probably working very hard behind the scenes to solve those crimes. But publicly, the lack of information given to you, That caught Chris Vanderveen's eye, and to our ears, Denver police have gone silent.
Dear @Denver Police, a Twitter thread from me, @Chris Vanderveen. In the last 24 hours, you've written 4 tweets telling the public of 4 shootings, each stating no suspect information. And then you went dark, much like your police radios did early last week when you switched over to an entirely encrypted system, shutting us and members of the public out of all radio traffic. When you did so, your chief Paul Pazin told us we could follow you on Twitter and Facebook and Nextdoor for current safety and crime prevention information. So this morning, after reading your tweets, I went to your Facebook page and found another successful safety expo in all caps. Why? I don't know. But hey, there's Dinger. Just not one word on those 4 shootings, one of which was here, another here, another here. So yes, I know it sounds odd for us to want to hear your radio traffic. We don't report on radio traffic alone, but it does give us a place to start. Start asking questions. We don't believe you're constantly up to no good, but we do believe in holding you and every government agency accountable. Because sometimes government agencies don't always tell the entire story. Like, for example, when 4 shootings take place in less than 24 hours. You did eventually send us this. 3 dead, one of which was, quote, a juvenile. That's it, a juvenile, which limits the age of the victim to anywhere between 0 and 17 years. Once again, not one word on any suspects. Do you have any? We don't know. Should neighbors be concerned? Don't know. Which makes me wonder, hey, Colorado @Rockies, maybe Dinger can get some more information because he seems to have more access to @Denver Police than we do at this moment.
Denver Police offers media outlets like ours an encrypted scanner so that we could listen in, but the reason that no major media outlet in Denver has agreed to that deal with DPD is because Denver Police also want to be able to come into our newsrooms and inspect our records in return. We told you how more schools in Douglas County are adding armed school resource officers. Not every school district in Colorado is going that route. Our man in northern Colorado, Mark Salinger, found schools in Loveland using their school monitors to listen.
The halls of Loveland High School sit quiet, patiently waiting for students to come back.
We all see it. We all hear about it. That's all of our fears. So what can we do to help prevent that? This is one step we're taking.
Todd Piccone with the Thompson School District is concerned with news of school shootings across the country, just like the rest of us. As students spent the summer at home, the district spent its time trying to make classrooms safer.
This is our look at a proactive approach. This is our way of trying to catch something before it happens.
Their answer, focus on mental health.
Biggest thing is connect with that kid, get them the services that they need, but also providing a layer of physical security.
When students return to class at the end of the month, they'll be greeted by uniformed campus monitors. They aren't police officers, but a mix between a security guard and a counselor. They're unarmed, working alongside the armed school resource officers the district already has.
What we're really trying to do here is focus on how can we see what's happening inside our schools and focus on the troubles that maybe some of the kids are having.
The campus monitors will help school resource officers make sure the doors are locked and nothing suspicious is going on outside. But their most important job is on the inside.
We're trying to catch something as something may be festering within someone.
Talk to them, what supports do they need, and connect them with the appropriate resources.
After far too many school shootings,
It keeps all of us up. I mean, these are our kids. This is our community.
Loveland is betting on mental health to stop the problem. For Next, I'm Mark Salinger.
Thompson School District told Mark they didn't even consider arming those campus monitors. They felt like that would be redundant because the district already partners with Loveland Police and the Larimer County Sheriff's Office to have an armed officer at every school.
Federal inspectors said things needed to change at the immigration detention facility in Aurora.
Were there things found that were wrong? Of course there are things that are found wrong. This is a big facility.
Today, we were able to go inside. And last night, the piano man singled out one fan in the audience. Today, we went to go find him. Next.
Everyone from federal inspectors to angry members of Congress have been beaten down the doors of the immigration detention facility in Aurora. And recently, the folks who run it have been on a PR blitz, offering tours to members of Congress and today to journalists. Our Sonia Gutierrez went on what seemed like a pretty tightly controlled and scripted tour.
It was, and it did feel that way the entire time. We were led by someone. There were people throughout the group that were walking right next to us. But the group, it was led by the acting director of all of ICE in Colorado. He gave us a tour himself, and he showed us one of the residential housing halls. This is one of men with medium or higher level offenses. We all saw that the kitchen, the medical hall, where we could see many of the other over-the-counter medications. He also showed us the area where they have considered their outdoor recreation space, something that's required, but the Office of Inspector General wrote a report saying that it wasn't enough. So here's John Fabricator, acting field office director with ICE. Here's the response.
Outside recreation, that is again something that we're looking at. We need to be able to build out outside recreation, so it's something that we have to look at here to see if that would be a move that we could make. We're still looking at that right at this time. Right now, what we have is currently allowed under PBNDS, but we are looking at possibly adding something else.
So we weren't able to tour the women's side of the facility, only the men, but ICE does admit that it looks very different, that it's more of an open space with bunk beds rather than the other location where the men were, that looked more of like a traditional jail with the first and second floor and then the doors for each of the rooms. So he did say that there are 161 women inside of the Aurora facility today, and there were a lot of questions, Kyle, about family separation today from the journalist, and they asked directly to the acting field office director, are there any children housed in any of these facilities? And he said, clear out, no children. His answer on the parents, however, was a little bit more vague, so here it is.
How many people currently detained?
No, we absolutely have no children or no juveniles. No kids from the border. GEO does not house children at all.
How about parents of minors who've been separated from them at the border?
There are parents that are separated from their children every day in the United States who are in custody.
How many people detained here now?
We don't keep track of that.
You don't keep track of parents separated from their minors at the border?
No.
So most of the detainees, Kyle, were from, according to John, from Latin America, from Asia, and from the Middle East. It was funny, through the tour, we were making sure we were getting a good capture of everything that we were seeing. And in the kitchen, there was a whiteboard, and on the whiteboard, it had a message saying, "Please make the kitchen sparkle by 8:45. Thanks." And the tour started at 9.
So, like anybody else, they want a clean house before people come in there. We should also note they offered us video that they had taken. They would not allow you to take video in there. We're choosing not to use that video here, just relying on what you saw in there. But different levels, different type of offenders. Some look much more like a jail than others did.
Exactly, and even their outfits, the colors were different. So if the people were in red outfits, it meant that their level of offense was higher. Orange, middle, blue was lower. And we actually ended up going to 2 halls at the end because we had questions for the second one. And when we went into the blue hall, the vibe was just so different. People were hanging out, they were just watching television, less stares at us and less interested in what we were doing, rather just kind of hanging out there.
Like the different levels in various detention facilities. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right. Thank you, Sonia.
Yeah.
What a difference a day makes, and a shift in the weather pattern. Beautiful in the high country. Great day for a drive. Clouds building in the metro area after a sunny day with warmer highs in the lower 90s. We are still tracking a few thunder showers to the south of the metro area. A little thunder and lightning around DIA. Nothing severe as of yet. All the heavy storms are over southern Colorado, where we have concerns for flooding due to saturated soils from the rain day after day this week. And more moisture will be coming in tomorrow, along with an upper air disturbance. So we'll have a mostly cloud-covered morning, get some sunshine in the afternoon, but those slow-moving storms again bring the threat of heavy rain late in the day, both Saturday and Sunday. The one piece of good news, not terribly hot this weekend, mid-80s forecast for both Saturday and Sunday afternoon. Tonight, lows in the mid-60s with partly cloudy skies. A stray shower still possible between now and 9 o'clock. Mid-80s Saturday afternoon, thunderstorms Sunday, and then warmer and drier Monday. 90 to 95 degrees for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. and beautiful water lilies, as shared with us this afternoon by Judy Williams.
I walked up and I said, you're going to be a professional musician someday and stay with it.
Billy Joel remembered that he said that.
When he left, he kept in touch. It was good.
And this week, they reconnected in front of tens of thousands of fans in Denver. That's next.
Journalist Manny Sotelo took that video. It looked like a hawk that was trying to air itself out after it got caught in a rainstorm earlier this week. So of all the tens of thousands of fans that packed into Coors Field to see Billy Joel play last night, the Piano Man singled out two people in the crowd. Our Travis Cacciatorian found Billy Joel's personal piano man.
Right now, I just really love to play a ballad and see how many ways I can improvise it a little differently.
Just watching Chuck Arnold play, you could probably tell the best music starts from the heart and moves through the fingertips.
If I find myself in 6 sharps, I cough and excuse myself and get back in an easier key.
Chuck started his career as a real-life piano man, riffing classics in smoky bars.
Absolutely. Making love to your tonic and gin. Well, last night was my first night at an outdoor concert of, I guess you could call it rock and roll.
Chuck was 15 rows back at Billy Joel's Thursday night Coors Field concert.
The best part about it was that you looked around and the age level of the audience, was 10 to 100.
But no matter the age, Chuck saw Billy Joel on stage a bit differently than most.
And there he was, a former student up on the stage.
The relationship goes back to the 1960s to high school.
And I went up and it was obvious he didn't know how to read music, but his ear was so sensitive and so attuned harmonically.
Chuck was a music teacher in Long Island, showing Billy Joel how to strengthen his natural talent and learn how to read music.
I had a great deal of respect for him as a musician, even though he was a kid.
Billy Joel went on to reach superstardom, but he never forgot his roots.
When he left, he kept in touch.
From time to time, Chuck thinks back on being a mentor.
It's been a pleasure knowing him.
And doesn't think twice about taking a note from a student.
And very fortunate for me as a teacher to see it come back.
For Next, Travis Cacciatorian.
Chuck says he was able to catch up with Billy Joel after the concert last night. They sat down, had sandwiches, and talked about the old times. The second shout out during last night's show was for Billy Joel's former guitarist, who also now lives in Colorado. It is Friday, so your good news brings us down the home stretch. And an interesting piece of feedback requires some help from our technical crew tonight. That's next. Your good news, and now your feedback. Stacy says, reset your neutrality button. You've been showing a bit of noticeable Republican dislike lately. Bill says, please turn off the lights in your studio so we can tell if your jacket glows in the dark. I don't think that it does, Bill. See you next time.